My past startup, which I sold, actually was in an accelerator program before, and that I'm gonna share with you my experience, my story, and I'm gonna talk about how you could apply for one and how to be successful in getting into one. So now my story is this: I was running a fantasy sports startup at that time, and there was this game accelerator in my country that I actually applied for, and I joined, and I actually dropped out from that accelerator. Reason why is because I did not find that the accelerator program was beneficial for us or conducive for us. The way how it was ran wasn't that as what I would expect it to be. Just to give you an idea how it works. So it was a program where you get some investment in exchange of equity in your company. So the thing is about us when we joined that time is that our startup was doing pretty well. We were actually profitable that time. So we were thinking of going global, and we thought that that accelerator could be the launch pad for us to go global. Really global. That time we were just basically the best, probably the biggest startup, fantasy sports startup in Asia at that time. So wanted to go global. The accelerator was ran by a bunch of global people from overseas, from Europe, in fact. And then we joined that and we got selected pretty easily. The application process was pretty straightforward. There was an interview, then we got selected. Now, before even we signed the agreements, remember that you are given time to go through the agreement, that they have all the forms, all the agreements, the kind of like due diligence that you might do with them. And then while you're doing that, you can actually start in that program. The program actually starts while you're doing the agreements. And we actually went through like probably a first 2-3 weeks of that accelerator program. Now, the thing that really turns me off when we were at that program is that it was really packed with just too much programs, training, mentorship session, everything in like a sardine can. You don't have time to breathe. I mean, it was like almost like a full-time job being there. It was a program for about 3-4 months, if not mistaken. So they're trying to pack everything into your company, and you get like workshops, training workshops. You get an office space. That's not a big deal. You get mentors, so-called mentors. Now here's the problem. Here's the part that I really find that was a big turnoff for us. There was one day, we actually had to do like 10 mentorship sessions with 10 different mentors around the world. And it was all packed within like a couple of hours. So you only got like 15 minutes, 20 minutes with just one mentor, and immediately that you have to talk to the next mentor. It's as fast as that. So you're going like 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 round, 4 round, and on and on with so many mentors. Now, whenever you get into a session with one mentor, a meeting, when you want to get out of it, you have to get into another one. You don't even have time to write down notes or time to think about what you just discussed. That was one big turnout we had. It was so overwhelming, and that was one problem, right? The other problem is that there were like a bunch of mentors, so-called mentors, that we don't even know whether they are real mentors, but they're experts in different fields. Well, to be honest, we don't actually need people from most of the fields. They're like game companies, console game companies, which are not really related to us. There was a teacher there. In fact, the last mentor was actually the wife of one of the co-founders of that acceleration program. And that was the most irrelevant mentor that we had. It didn't even gel with us. Whether that thing that we gain, I mean, we did not gain anything from that mentorship or that day. In fact, I truly forgot whatever we discussed. Probably it's only one person from Portugal was giving us a good advice because he was really into our field. The rest was just people like from different fields of gaming areas. You know, we're doing fantasy sports. You have people from console. We have people from arcade games, which has nothing much to do with us, and we have people from all different kind of fields. So at the end, it was so overwhelming, and the program was ran in a way, in such a hasty way, I guess. We decided that it was not a good idea for us to proceed with that program. So hence we dropped out from it even before we inked the deal. So it was like more like probation for us about the first few weeks, and we didn't want to sign it that early. In fact, we wanted to feel the program first before we confirm and sign the deal for it. Therefore, that's why we eventually dropped out. And this is my story of how I joined an accelerator and how I dropped out. So now, if you were to ask yourself, why should you be applying for accelerator program? There are a few reasons. Why do you apply? Like I mentioned just now, we wanted to go global. We thought that could be a good launch pad for us to go global. In fact, it was not really there. And so let's go back to the story. Let's go to the story of how you could join, why you want to join an accelerator, and how to apply for one. All right. Now, let me just change this text on top. I'm going to change the topic right now. I'll put it there like how to apply for an accelerator program. All right. So the first thing you want to look at is that to know why you're applying for one. Okay. It's very important to know why you want to apply for one. Okay. For example, some acceleration programs, they offer money. Who doesn't want money as a startup, right? So you go for the money in return of a small percentage of your company, for example, or sometimes with zero equity stake they're taking from you. Even better, right? So you have to know why you're applying for one. Is they're offering you market access, investment access, networking access? Perhaps they're a sponsor or they're partners who are your big potential clients, like big conglomerates, big companies that you hope to work with. For example, you have to see the value that you could get from them. Obviously, you want to get more. It seems like they want to get something from you as well. So it's a win-win situation, right? Now, once you know that, you have to look at other things. For example, like equity stake that they're taking, for example. If you're already doing so well, if you're already making profit, you might want to consider the valuation that they're offering you. Are they offering you a great valuation? Not, depending on, if you're profitable, how are they valuing your company? For the equity stake that you're taking, how much is your company's worth? Is it worth it? Yes, no? Then you may decide on that. Okay. So these are a few reasons that what you want to look at about how to apply for one and what are they offering you. Now, if you look at other things like how to apply for accelerator, you can always go to websites like fs6.com or unoodle.com, or there's another one called gust.com. So you can find quite a lot of acceleration programs on those websites. You can just go ahead and apply for them, but you have to know why people wanna do them. What's the objective of an acceleration program? Acceleration program is about finding the winning teams, right? They want to invest in teams, startup teams who could win. So if you know that, and a lot of times, how do you define a winning team? Or how do you know a team is gonna win, right? So you look at what's the potential of a startup. And a lot of times, the startup potential is measured by the traction. You can apply for a lot of acceleration programs, and if they turn you down, most probably the reason they're gonna say to you is that let me spell that, unoodle.com, right? Is that you have no traction, or you don't have enough traction that to convince them that you're gonna be a good bet to win. When I say winning in startup, I mean like acquisition, IPO, M&A, that kind of stuff. That's all the metrics of winning for startups, right? So if you look at that, and they're gonna look at you in that area, in that angle, and if you don't have those, perhaps you're not ready to apply for acceleration program. Now, here's the caveat, here's the catch. Unless they could add value to your company. For example, if you're in a field that the acceleration program is focused on, very focused on, and they have the expertise, the skills, the mentors who could bring your company up to the next level, that would be a good, that could help you to win. Think of you like a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old potential aspiring soccer player. You go to a soccer club, you go for your tests, trials, and they find a potential in you. They'll bring you in, train you up, and eventually sell you to a bigger club. That's how it works. Transfer fees, stuff like that, if you know, in Europe especially. So that's how it works. So if they see the potential in you to able to raise the next round from an investor that they might already know, who they know that would be interested in companies like you, then you will have a good chance to be enrolled in their program. Okay, so it's probably they already think of the exit before the entry. If they look at a company, hey, we could do wonders with this company. We know who's going to invest in them in the next Series A or Series B, whatever. They have the connection already. They know the people. They know what they want. They know what the industry they're at. And you have that unpolished diamond, I would say. You're like an unpolished diamond, uncut diamonds. Okay, that's the correct term. They could bring you in, then they know that, hey, you're my golden goose, that I'm going to bring you and sell you to someone bigger. And when they sell you to a higher buyer, which means that next round of investors, your valuation is going to go up. And their shares value definitely going to go up as well. You see how it works? So they would probably look at companies that way. Or you have traction. A company's success is always measured by its traction, by its number of users, number of traffic, number of sales, number of revenue, number of profit, right? So all these are traction, right? If you just have a prototype, an idea, chances are it might be difficult for you to get into an acceleration program unless the accelerator could add value to your startup. Okay? So that's a few of the reasons how they look at which company they want to accelerate. So having known that, when you pitch to them, you have to look at that angle when you talk to them. Okay? Look at it in a way that, hey, I can get the next round, or they know that they can help you to get to the next round investors in your Series A's, or even your seed funding, stuff like that, early stage funding. Okay, so those are the things I will look at. Now you go and apply. I would say that try to apply when you have enough traction to prove yourself that you'll be worthy for the next investment round. Now, sometimes your company will already be doing so well that you don't need an acceleration program. That's another reason why you may not want to apply for an acceleration program. For example, if you know your company is doing so well, you can directly pitch to all these investment funds, which are already there. And they might look at you and directly invest in you, so you don't have to go through an acceleration program. Okay, because the people in the acceleration program could be the same kind of people looking at for the same kind of results or metrics or traction that you might have. Okay, or you might not have. Therefore, it's the same. They're gonna judge you the same way of how an angel investor, an early stage investment, a VC may look at you at. Okay, so look at those areas. So when should you apply for acceleration program? When you have traction, when your company suddenly has a growth in traction. Say for example, you just launched a prototype and you didn't have enough users, and then suddenly something happened and boom, your users just shot up like a hockey stick exponentially. And for the past few weeks or months, then you should start to apply for acceleration program that might be interested to accelerate you. Or you can just directly go for angel investors or VCs and people like that, early stage VCs, I suppose. All right. So when you don't get into those acceleration programs, this is what I'll do. I'll ask them, why? Well, I've been rejected by a lot of acceleration programs, to be honest. You lose more than you win. I always look at it that way. You have to lose more to win, because when you lose, you learn about why you lost. You learn from the lessons, why they rejected you. You try to court a bunch of girls, the girls rejected you, and you ask them why. Why? Am I not good enough? Am I not rich enough? Am I not good looking enough? Am I not too sexy enough for you? Not good in what? Things like that. So you ask the accelerator programs why. A lot of times they're gonna tell you the same thing. It's either you don't have enough traction, you're good, but you're not ready. We are not ready. In other words, it means that you're not ready yet. So keep in touch. They're always gonna tell you keep in touch, because they're not ready to invest in you now. Doesn't mean they're forever not ready. Meaning that one day, when you have gained enough traction, they might look into you again, and they might accept you then. Okay? So ask them why. And you're gonna get most probably the same kind of answers. They say, you don't have enough traction, you don't have enough team members, perhaps you don't have co-founders or whatever, you don't have this, you don't have that. Or sometimes they just have limited seats for the program, and there are just too many other good startups who are applying for it. Case in point, Y Combinator. Now, Y Combinator is like the mother of all accelerators, right? The king of all accelerators. Everybody wants to be inside, to be accelerated by Y Combinator, YC. So if you don't think you're worthy enough to apply for YC, we apply for others first. Learn from that. I mean, there is no set rules to say that if you're too early to join an accelerator. I have not seen that. People always look at the risk about a startup is how the earlier the startup is, the more risky it is to be invested or to be accelerated. Okay, so if you is a very early stage startup, you are a high risk investment. So they look at you can be a later stage company with profit revenue, and still people will still want to accelerate you because you have low risk. Okay, low risk of failure, high risk of winning, high risk of being invested in the next round or acquisition, IPO, whatever. Okay, so I think I've said enough. Those are my experience that I like to share. So if you like to apply, go to f6s.com or unoodle.com or gas.com. There are always a lot of acceleration programs in the world running. So look at the value they can offer you, look at the money they can offer you. But remember that when they're offering some sort of money, I'm sure there are a lot of people applying for it. So it's not gonna be easy because there's just so many startups nowadays in the world. And you also want to look at the fee. Now, some acceleration programs actually cost you money to join. I know there are a few in the US. I forgot the states. They actually charge you a yearly or a one-time fee in order to accelerate you. Now, you might want to think twice about those kind of acceleration program. If, for example, if you want to be in the US, if you think US is a market for you to be in, then you might want to pay that fee to be enrolled, to be chosen, because it's still application process you have to go through. It's not like you just pay the money and just go to enter any acceleration program, right? So perhaps they will help you to set up your company there, incorporate your company there, to understand how to do business in US or market access. That's it. Networking access with partners, with clients, potential clients, with investors. So those are the key things that they could offer you. Now always look at their track records. So, you know, as an acceleration program, it's just like a startup sometimes. There are startups too, because they also have to generate their own traction. For example, the track record from their past programs, how many company has raised the next round, how many company has been acquired, if they have such a long history, how many, what revenue has been generated by their previous startups. So things like that, you want to look at that kind of stuff if you're going to pay a fee to join the acceleration program. Okay, so that's all for me for today about acceleration program. I hope I've been helpful. If you want to ask more questions to me, go ahead and look at my about section. There's a link. You can post your questions there or email me directly. You can find my email on the YouTube about section too, about tab. All right, so all the best to you guys if you're applying for an acceleration program. All right, so never give up. Good luck.